To the arena. Test your worth, killing the ghosts of those who came before you. Use your harpoon to grab your opponent and throw them over each other like an unconventional weapon. Okay. WASDA movement. Press and hold the left button over an enemy. Grab. Release the left button. Release. All contents were created in 72 hours except for the following. The music, the font, some sound effects taken from free SFX. Okay. It's pretty good. Well done. It does look like mostly original content anyway, so yeah. Oh, whoops. What the heck? Spinnicus. Spartacus. Spinnicus. Unfortunately, a movie I have not seen. Yeah, let's have at it. Hopefully it'll give me a dialogue to not make it full screen. Okay, it did. Let's go for 800 by 600. Let's see if I can stretch. No, darn it, it doesn't let me. Cool, windowed. I'm gonna go with good graphics. Yeah. Personal edition. I do like the Kevin MacLeod music. Game made for an unconventional weapon. Alright, cool. Allows it to move. Alright, it's kind of slow. Press and hold the left mouse button to grab an enemy. Good tutorial. Release the button to launch the enemy. He's back alive. Destroy enemies, making them clash with each other. Like this? Nope, probably not. The camera's nauseating. You can just spin at them, which is yeah. Wait, why did that not register? Ooh. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's do that again. I got 55. The spinning is a bit unpredictable. Like, I have to kind of let go early, and it seems to go off at an angle that I wouldn't have expected. The sounds are a bit repetitive. Usually what I like to do is kind of randomize the pitch of a sound effect often, every time they play, to kind of give it a little more spice. happened. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict how the timing of the shoot. Not for nothing, but I feel like a lot of gladiators are supposed to be walking into their foes, and this seems more like just running away from them. I wonder if the crowd themselves actually find that more fun as a consequence. I'll take that. Yeah. Very arcadey. Like, I didn't feel like there was much more to it, and I also felt very frustrated with the fact that it was hard to predict where you're going to shoot. If there was more predictability in that regards, like maybe perhaps an arrow indicating the pathway in which the person is going to fire, or maybe a line of sight, that would have been really nice. Yeah. The presentation was definitely solid. I thought that the graphics were really good, and the sound was really well chosen. In regards to the level of fun I had, I felt like I was fighting a lot with trying to figure out, okay, how does the physics work? Why does this certain stuff work, and why does certain other stuff doesn't work? Especially the flinging the enemy part kept leaving me with a lot of question marks, such as why does it fire at what seems to be a completely perpendicular angle to where where it's actually placed off the chain? I keep expecting it to fly off from the end of the chain into that specific direction. So the lack of predictability, the fact that I wasn't really understanding how to control the rotating aspect of the game was a big hindrance to my enjoyment of it. It also felt like a really shallow game. There doesn't seem to be much more to the formula other than you have bigger enemies and you probably want to use them to knock over more stuff, or you have these small enemies. Like, it doesn't seem to have any sense of, maybe there are enemies where you can pull off body parts from it, maybe there are like larger enemies where you have to do that, or maybe smaller enemies run at you faster, that kind of stuff. There doesn't seem to be much to differentiate between the enemies, and thus much to really mix up the experience as it is. I do consider it to be a relatively solid concept. I personally found it more frustrating because I was fighting with a lot of things, but that's just me. So let's go with this innovation. I do rank it high on innovation. It's simple, it's certainly an unconventional weapon that I expected, which reminds me that Steam is towards the top right there. Definitely an idea that makes sense the moment you see it. I personally thought it was an average amount of fun to me. Again, largely because I was fighting with, I wasn't able to figure out what the angle of trajectory for most of these enemies were. The graphics were really good, really good. The audio was, the fact that you're using Kevin MacLeod's and free SFX sound effects tells me that technically you're supposed to be volunteering yourself out of the audio category because the audio themselves weren't created by the person. But, oh well, still, I do consider it to be top-notch. The humor, well, I guess you can say it looked kind of nice. The mood, I do like the audio gave it a significant amount of mood, but then again, I also mentioned that the game mechanic, where you're essentially running away from a lot of things, seemed to go contrary to the Gladiator sort of theme to it. Overall, I do consider this to be a solid package. It just needs more. It just needs more feedback, visual feedback, in my opinion. That is, on where the enemies are going to fly, or what you're doing. Basically, give the player the sense that they know what they're doing. They have a better understanding of what the controls lead to. Very nice presentation with solid graphics and music. And use of sound. I personally had a hard time predicting where the enemy, where the slinged I guess slinged is not a word. Where a released enemy would fly, making it a bit hard to appreciate the simplicity of the game. Additionally, the lack of variety and objectives leaves the experience a bit dry. I think a line of sight, I think a line indicating the enemy's trajectory could have been useful. Because ultimately it feels like, okay, the whole point is you're grabbing an enemy, which there's a lot of, that's good, so there's a good reason to even do that. There's a lot of enemies, and a huge part of it was about timing. You grab the enemy and you're waiting until the right time to bowling pin the other enemies. And to that effect, I think that's really neat. The fact that you have to kind of dodge for most of it before you're able to, you know, say, okay, this is exactly the time I'm going to commit to the trajectory I'm doing, is a really neat risk versus reward effect. At the same time, I just found it hard to appreciate the launching motion of the whole thing. So unfortunately, I'm getting the call to go to the bathroom next, so I'm going to cut off the stream a little short. I will be coming